Hello again, Chris Lee and Chase Robinson of Southeastern 16 here to preview Texas A&M's road trip to Auburn. You may catch that 6:30 Central on ESPN. Bet Online has A&M by 2.5 with an over-under of 47.5 as we do this on Tuesday morning. That makes for an implied final score of A&M 25, Auburn 23. My composite model has A&M by 3. Interesting game here. Both teams come off blowouts of overmatched opponents. For Auburn, bowl eligibility to play for A&M, much bigger stakes, an SEC championship, a playoff berth, and all sorts of things here.
Yeah, you go into this game thinking, why is it 2.5? I mean, Texas is 8-2 on the year. They're 5-1 in the conference, number 15 in the country, and Auburn sits over there with only 4 wins and 1 conference win. You think, why is it so close? Well, I think there's a lot of things that factor into that we'll get to, but it's in Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. I feel like Auburn is a team right now who maybe they're starting to find some things, figure some things out. Still not sure where Auburn is, but I feel like this is going to be, as kind of the line tells us, at 2.5. Could be a really close game down in Auburn, and I'm interested to see how this one goes. I really am.
I've got an answer for your question on why the line is what it is, but I'm going to save that for very end when I make my picks because it's going to frame it up nicely for you. Before we do that, let's just jump into the by the numbers segment, starting with when Texas A&M's got the ball. Chase, if you pull that up, you can see the numbers here. A&M likes to run it. Auburn's got a really underrated run defense. I think we kind of have an idea how this is going to shape out. You're going to have a lot of running plays from Moss and that group. Marcel Reed is going to do a lot of quarterback reads and those sorts of things. But Auburn, not an easy defense to run against.
Auburn's defense has been their calling card this season, and there's been more consistency on that side of the ball, especially lately, I feel like. Than it has been offensively. So I think this is a really good matchup. They have been able to stop the run. Auburn's defense has, and that's been the strong suit of Texas A&M. So I feel like this is where the interesting part of the matchup lies. Right here is if A&M can run the football. They've been inconsistent at times throwing, and so I think that's been the way they've been able to get a lot of their success is running the football. Can Auburn do what it takes to stop these guys? They have some really strong runners, and I think some of the better runners that Auburn has seen this year. And so they've got to be ready to stop the run here. Auburn does, because that is going to be what A&M tries to do. But yeah, I think it's very interesting because I like the way Auburn has been playing defensively.
Yeah, A&M runs it 59% of the time, and sacks not included. That number, those go on passing plays. That may be the highest percentage in the league. If not, it's going to be really close. I think Vanderbilt also runs it 59% of the time. But anyway, spoiler alert, that's what A&M wants to do. That also happens to be the strength of Auburn's defense. All right, before we get to the other side of the matchup, Chase, I'll have you pull that up. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting, from the latest odds to in-game live betting. BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen, with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today. Get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline. The game starts here. All right, we've got the by the numbers segment pulled up for those of you watching us on YouTube. Chase, what stands out to you about this side of the matchup? Turnovers would be an obvious one, but Auburn has kind of got that under control a little bit more recently. That aside, where do you see an edge for one team or the other here?
Well, I think offensively for Auburn, it's been really up and down. Against Louisiana Monroe Saturday, Auburn had some really good things going offensively. I thought Cam Coleman made a spectacular catch. He was getting things done. I thought Peyton Thorne looked comfortable back there. Now, again, and not to discredit Louisiana Monroe, but they're not a team like Texas A&M. And so, maybe that will give them some confidence going into this game offensively. But, I think we're at the point for Auburn. We know Jarqeuz Hunter is a tremendous back. He needs to be utilized. He has been utilized more as of late, and I think that's what they need to go to. But then on the other side, again, kind of like we talked about with the opposite of Auburn's defense and A&M's offense, like I think Texas A&M has done a good job defensively this year. It's Mike Elko's his specialty is defense. He's been a great coordinator, and they're going to be zoning in this week on how to stop Jarqeuz Hunter, and I think they have the personnel to do it. They've had a pretty good run defense so far this year. So this is interesting to me, is because Peyton Thorne's going to have to really utilize his arm, I think, Saturday. Texas A&M has given up some big plays this year. We'll see if Auburn has it in them, but I think they can, if they can get some of these receivers involved, they can get some big plays.
Two things that stand out to me here. A&M's sack rate is not as high as we would have expected. Yeah. That's a lot of the way that you force turnovers, but they've got dudes who can get after the passer, Nick Scorton and company, so that might be something that's hidden within the stats where there's a little bit more ability than is shown on paper. Number two, Auburn, the stats per play, are not bad. 7.5 per throw, 5.9 per rushing play. I think the latter might be the best in the league, but they just are inflated by certain games. A lot of the early in the year beatings against overmatched opponents was one thing, and then you had the Jarqeuz Hunter Kentucky game where he ran for 290 yards or something like that, and just no follow-up the next week against Vanderbilt. I just feel like you don't – Auburn has not allowed us to really trust the good flashes of what we see because they never last for long against good opponents, at least not so far.
Right, and that's an issue. That's one of the things that we zone in on in a matchup like this is can they do some of the things that they've done in a big time game in a and it's a night game in Jordan-Hare Stadium? Can they get these things done when they're playing a good opponent at home?
Let's get into picks and why. Chase, I'll start with you.
Yeah, look, Auburn has not been able to finish games this season, and until they can prove otherwise, I can't pick Auburn. I'm going to take Texas A&M into this game. Could it be close? I really think it can, because I think Auburn does some really good things, but in the end, I don't trust Auburn yet, and so I'm going to take Texas A&M. I think they will roll through this game in Auburn. I think it'll be close, but I think it's a Texas A&M win.
Yeah, the stats for Auburn just scream this is a better team than we've seen. Auburn is averaging a full 2 yards per play more than its opponent. The computers have got Auburn a top 40 team, I think some inside the top 30. So statistically, like if Auburn wins this game, I can sit here and tell you why. The problem, Chase, sometimes I don't think the stats tell you the whole story. I watch this team play. It finds ways to not convert third downs in big stretches or turn the ball over or get away from Jarqeuz Hunter when it's been working, or name any combination of factors. I'm sure Auburn fans could give you that and then some. Bottom line is, when I watch this team, I just don't trust it to win big games. A&M is got some weaknesses. I think its passing game is a little suspect, but I think the running game is strong. I think A&M's got a lot to play for here. I will take the Aggies to go on the road and win. Whatever happens, we will be here to talk about it Saturday night. Hopefully not Friday night. Saturday night at 9:30 Central. Chase and I will be here to wrap it up. Best way to get that, hit the subscribe button, enable your notifications. It will let you know that we are live. It will also let you know when we release other videos, so I hope you'll do that. For Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching Southeastern 16 presented by BetOnline.